With a story that's kind of like Schindler's List, does One Life live up to its incredible and interesting and haunting story? One Life is directed by James Hawes, stars Anthony Hopkins, Johnny Flynn, Helena Bonham Carter, and Jonathan Pryce, and tells the story of a British stockbroker, Nicholas Winton, visits Cheslovsky, hope I'm pronouncing it right, in the 1930s and forms plans to assist in the rescue of Jewish children before the onset of World War II in an operation that came to be known as the Kinder Transport. Hello, you weird, beautiful movie lovers. My name is Louie, aka Movie Fandom, and today we are talking about One Life, the brand new movie from Anthony Hopkins that feels like he's trying to get another Oscar win. But anyways, so I saw it last night thanks to an unlimited screening in Cineworld. So now I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it. No spoilers. First off, Anthony Hopkins in here, I really think he's great. Is this his best performance? No. Obviously there are many more, with the two in particular being Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs, and also The Father in The Father, which he excels at in both of those movies. Hannibal Lecter being a psychopath, but who is also interesting and complex, and The Father in it being with it having the confusion off someone who is going through dementia, and I think that really does it well, and it shows for his performance. Now here, I do think he does really a great performance, so admittedly it does feel very Oscar baity. In fact, you can tell many scenes he is just desperately trying to get nominated for it. I'm sorry for that, but I do think that he did a great job in here, especially there's a scene in here when he is crying later on in the movie that really does help with it a lot more, and I really think that his performance, that he is really great in it. Now, the other main performance in this movie is Johnny Flynn, who plays young Nicholas Winton, and to be honest, he is more in this movie than Anthony Hopkins. Personally, I have some issues with that. I'll get into it later. But I do think he did a really great job with it. He captures a young version of him very well. He has emotions, and you can tell how much he cares and how much he is how he feels with this performance, and I love his performance in here. So yeah, I don't really think there's a bad performance in here. A lot of it does feel a little Oscar baity, but admittedly, yeah, I do think that every performance in here is at least good to great or decent, and I think those two are the main standouts with some other stuff. The writing itself, I do have issues with it, but admittedly, for the most part, I do think it was very well done. Particularly with scenes when we were seeing in the war trying to get those children out, and I think it really does a great job with it being thrilling and tense, but you can tell how much they care for it to do it, and I really love that part of the movie. I think it's really well done. But to be fair, the writing is very hit or miss with some stuff. To be honest, this is 109 minutes long, and admittedly, I feel like it would have been a documentary, in fact, a docu-series, like a 3-part docu-series, because I feel like we needed a little more to it, because with a great and fascinating story like this, it needed more to it, and also with other characters in here, they're not really worth mentioning, because we don't really care that much with them. Obviously, the real life story is great and fascinating, terrifying, and stuff like that, but it really doesn't do a great job with it. Schindler's List, for example, which, to be fair, isn't a documentary, docuseries, or a miniseries, because also I feel like this also could have been a miniseries in some way. But that does a real great job living up to the story. It does it in a respectful way that makes it intense, heartwarming, and overall just a great movie with amazing performances, cinematography, direction, score. Everything about that movie is amazing, and it does it well with its 3-hour runtime. And I feel like if that runtime was shorter, it would have been not as good. And, I feel like this is kind of with this one, and with it also not really having Anthony Hopkins in it that much, I was expecting it to see on how it affected him, in his later years in life, and I really wish we would have gotten that, because we don't, because that would have been the most interesting part for it, like, if, the first half was, with him remembering those stuff, and the last half off it, with how it affected him as a person, and I would have loved to see that, and I'm not saying, and yeah, I do think it could have been good. It could have been a lot better. I feel like, maybe they wouldn't have balanced out a little bit, but still, I feel like they could have. So yeah, admittedly a little too short. I wish it was like 10 minutes longer, cause I would have liked to see, what happened to characters that we'd seen before, but we didn't see the end to them. Like, we didn't see at least a little bit of stuff, but obviously with the, stupid, titles saying what happens next, that just annoys me unless it's like Killers of the Flower Moon. So yeah, but admittedly this isn't a bad movie. There is some great stuff with it. There is some great music, even though most of it can be manipulative. It is really well done. The sound design is really good, and like I said, there's not a bad performance in here. It has intense and emotional scenes with it, that you really feel the stakes with it and the heart, and it does a really great job with that. It could have been longer, honestly. Also, the cinematography itself is kinda dull, but, I mean, there is some good stuff with it, particularly with, I think the show is called That's Life with it. When we get to the end, where, with the seat, part, and with the audience that this movie has been marketed with, which is surprisingly, like, in the last 30 minutes or so, that did look really good, but yeah, for the most part, One Life is alright. It's not bad, and admittedly, for a very interesting story, it could have been better. But for the most part, Anthony Hopkins' performance and performances in general were really good. There was some nice stuff with it, particularly with its score, sound design, and some other parts with it. But I feel like this could have been either a docuseries or a mini-series, because I feel like we would have gotten the actual story for it on what this, incredible and interesting story, deserved to be told as. So, overall, I'd recommend One Life. I recommend seeing it if you are interested in this story. It comes out on January 1st in the UK, and it'll be released in other theaters around the world in 2024, so if you would like to see that, then, there it is. Overall, I give One Life a B-. So those are my thoughts on One Life. What did you think about this movie? Did you love it, hate it? Let's agree, disagree down in the comments. Come tell me. My next review will be for the movie The Shift, and then Maestro, and then some other stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to do that for you. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay awesome.